Hello, my name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications and Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find the podcast, netnewsnetwork.net. Another podcast will be coming up pretty soon. I wanted to talk to you about a hero. This is an American hero, and I've already given you a hint. It's down there on the screen, but I want to show you a picture. This is like cuteness overload right here. Who do you think this guy is? Yeah, you guessed it. It's right there on the screen anyway. And his name is Dr. Ben Carson. And I'm telling you, this is Hero Week, okay? So we're talking about folks who have made a difference in our lives. People who love America. People who were poor and they built themselves out of absolute circumstances most people would give up on. But no, now he had a mother who helped out there as well. So let's go ahead and talk about this. And this is a quote. I really love this quote. There is no such thing as an average human being. If you have a normal brain, you are superior. This is also a saying with Dr. Carson. Now, Benjamin Carson's graduation photo, and I'm going ahead and I think I saved it right here. Yeah, right here. Okay, so this is Dr. Benjamin Carson's graduation photo from Southwestern High School, Detroit, Michigan. This is in 1969, courtesy of Johns Hopkins Hospital. And so look at this guy right here. Little did he know back in that day he was going to turn into something like really, really huge. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about the beginnings. Okay, so Benjamin Carson was born in Detroit, Michigan. His mother, Sonia, had dropped out of school in the 3rd grade. She married when she was only 13 years old. Now, when Benjamin Carson was only 8, his parents divorced, and Miss Carson was left to raise Benjamin and his older brother, Curtis, on her own. That was quite a feat back then. She worked at 2, sometimes 3 jobs at a time to provide for her boys. Now, Benjamin and his brother fell farther and farther behind in school. So in 5th grade, Carson, this is hard to imagine. In 5th grade, Carson was his classmates called him Dummy, and he developed a violent, uncontrollable temper. Now, when Miss Carson saw Benjamin's failing grades, she determined to turn her both sons' lives around. She sharply limited the boys' television watching, which is a smart thing to do, especially nowadays. You may consider that if you have kids now. And refused to let them outside to play until they had finished their homework each day. She required them to read 2 library books a week and give her written reports on their reading, even though with her own poor education, she could barely read what they had written. Think about this. Okay, so we have kids, okay, and so we, sometimes use the television, or maybe they play games. We let that babysit the kids. That's not a good thing to do. We've got to know what's going on in our kids' lives. I mean, and I'll give you an example. Okay, so my son wanted to watch this crazy cartoon called The Simpsons. I watched it before he did. I wanted to make sure it was on the up and up. Well, guess what? It wasn't on the up and up. I didn't like how they portrayed the parents. The dad was dumb. He was lazy. Just a horrible, horrible person. Did not rule the household. Then the mom was kind of dumb. The kids were the smart ones of the whole thing. I didn't want my son's life being influenced by that kind of a cartoon. Parents, we got to get there. We've got to know what the kids are doing, okay? We are their influence in life. And single moms and single dads, you can make it happen. You absolutely can. Look at the outcome of Ben Carson, because he had a mom who was on top of everything. She wanted him to be the best he could be, and his brother to be the best they could be. I'll show you another picture. And this is picture number 2 right here. This is an awards council member, Dr. Benjamin Carson, and his wife, Candy, with Zandra Krulak at an outing in Mount Vernon. Now, this is a National Historic Landmark in Virginia. This is during the American Academy of Achievement's 1999 Summit. How about that? Isn't that amazing? Congratulations, Dr. Carson. Now, I wanted to mention to you that within a few weeks, Carson astonished his classmates by identifying rock samples his teacher had brought to class. He recognized them from one of the books he had read, by the way, Mom making them read 2 library books a week. And it was that moment, he said, and this is a quote, "I realized I wasn't stupid," he recalled later. Carson continued to amaze his classmates with newfound knowledge, and within 1 year, he was at the top of his class. Remember, he was at the bottom of the class, and he was having some issues there, having some anger issues. Mom got on top of it. This is a lesson for all of us. And if Mom's not around and grandparents, you're raising your grandkids, you be on top of it. I don't care if they do have more knowledge of computers and internet and all this stuff than you do. They're the basics that you can use. The basics still work. Basics of reading a book. Remember what my grandmother told me a long time ago. And so she said, whatever you do, I was pregnant with my son. So didn't know it was going to be a boy. This is back in the days you didn't know. And so she said, you need to be reading to the baby. And I said, he's not around yet. She said, they can hear you. Whatever you do, they will pick it up. And guess what? He's an avid reader. My son never goes around without a book. See, all those are real books right there. You need to develop your own library. You need to develop, if there's only one thing you can do, you can go to thrift stores, you can do all kinds of things, you can find all kinds of books. Find the good ones, help your child to develop their own library. And I promise you'll have a successful child. They'll always want to learn, and they'll always seek knowledge. And that's what Proverbs say, right? Seek knowledge, seek the right kind of knowledge. And that's what you and I are doing today. We're talking about a good American hero, Dr. Ben Carson, and how he became a hero. So let's go ahead and start. Let's have some more things right here. Okay, so again, at the top of his class, let's go with the third picture right here. Okay, let's talk about this one. Now, this is in the year 2005. So 10-year-old Indian twins, Saba and Farah, sat beside U.S. pediatric neurosurgeon Dr. Benjamin Carson, their father and their brother, during a press conference. And this was in New Delhi. So hunger really had, did you know, I mean, look at this accomplishment. This is from a kid, single mom. He was at the bottom of his class. Mom has him and his brother go to the library, had to read 2 library books a day. This is the outcome, okay? A super, super smart individual. Okay, so the hunger of knowledge had taken hold of him, and he began to read on all subjects. He wanted it all. He was amazing. His students, the students who used to call him dummy, were now just, they couldn't believe it, the turnaround of this kid. So he determined to become a physician, and he learned to control the violent temper who still had threatened his future. After graduating with honors from his high school, he attended Yale University, where he learned a degree in psychology. Take a look at that. Okay, this is the outcome of a mom who cared, who wanted him to have the best in life, okay? So Benjamin S. Carson, MD, Director of Pediatric Neurosurgery at the Johns Hopkins Hospital. Now, this was in Baltimore, Maryland. Okay, that's your picture number 4. Okay, now let's talk about this. From Yale, he went to medical school at the University of Michigan, where his interest shifted from psychiatry to neurosurgery. His excellent eye-hand coordination and 3-dimensional reasoning skills made him a superior surgeon. After medical school, he became a neurosurgery resident at the world-famous Johns Hopkins Hospital, and this is in Baltimore. At age 32, he became a hospital's director of pediatric neurosurgery, a position he would hold on to for the next 29 years. Okay, I'm going to go to another picture, and this is picture number 5 right here. This is a panel discussion of the 2006 International Achievement Summit in Los Angeles. Now remember, this comes from a poor little boy, mom raising him, and his brother, and look what developed. Isn't this awesome? So they explored the connections and conflict between science and faith. Television journalist Kathleen Matthews moderated the discussion. Now, Dr. Francis Collins, director of the National Human Genome Project, and Dr. Benjamin S. Carson presented their views as scientists whose work is informed and inspired by their religious faith. It's another key component right there. Evolutionary biologist Dr. Richard Dawkins and philosopher Dr. Daniel Dennett argued that religious belief is not supported by evidence or scientific method. Okay, now let's talk about this for a second. Okay, so you had these unbelievers with the believers. Okay, who is the hero right here? Dr. Ben Carson. There's a reason for that. Now let's talk about this. In 1987, Dr. Carson made medical history with an operation to separate a pair of Siamese twins. You saw that photo just a few minutes ago. So the Binder twins were born. They were joined at the back of their head. Operations to separate these twins joined in this way had always failed, and it always resulting in the death of one or more of the infants. Carson agreed to undertake the operation. A 70-member surgical team led by Dr. Carson worked for 22 hours. At the end, the twins were successfully separated and can now survive independently. Okay, let's go ahead and cut into a commercial break, and we're going to come back in just a few minutes, so you hang in there. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Let Rhonda at Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC take the burden off you for all your tax needs. I know because Rhonda has been taking care of my business since 2013. I feel Rhonda works for me because she knows the direct questions to ask to better benefit my unique business in order for me to get back the biggest refund possible. Rhonda is an ongoing student, and she knows tax laws are in a constant change every year. Call 256-281-9903 for an appointment to take the dread out of getting your taxes done. Rhonda is located at 11968 U.S. Highway 431 in Boaz. Again, that number is 256-281-9903. And let Rhonda's Elite Tax LLC champion your personal and business taxes. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Okay, we're back. We're talking about an American hero. His name is Dr. Ben Carson. There's always bad news out there. Who wants the bad news? Let's forget all of that. Let's start talking about the people who are actually making a way in this world, who actually survived through, most people would say, this person would never be successful in their entire life. I'm going to go ahead and mention this again. Dr. Ben Carson was raised by a mom only, no dad in the household. A lot of people say, well, the odds of that happening is not going to be. Well, this guy really made it happen. Mom, though, put in, with God, put in the skills. Okay, so he was failing in class. He was called the class dummy. Okay, so mom wants to make this, again, I'm going to mention this is really important. We need to really get this grounded in our heads, okay? So you're raising kids. Whether it's a one-parent household raising kids or two, you both need to be together on this, okay? So if you have both mom and dad there, teach the kids, have them want to read books. And don't make it as an option. This is important. They need to read. This is a needed skill in today's world. Okay, so we're talking about Dr. Ben Carson. And so the many accomplishments he had. So take a look at this one right here. So this is Dr. Ben Carson. He addresses the Academy delegates at the 2007 International Achievement Summit in Washington. There you go. Look at that. How many people in the world ever can say they've done this? Okay, not many can. Okay, let's go. We have many more things we want to talk about. So let's talk about this one. Dr. Carson's other surgical innovations have included the first intrauterine procedure to relieve pressure on the brain of a fetal twin. Okay, and which an infant suffering from uncontrollable seizures has half of its brain removed. This stops the seizures, and the remaining half of the brain actually compensates for the missing hemisphere. I didn't know this had happened. This speaks, this speaks volumes. Okay, let's go ahead and look at picture number 7 down here. I'm really glad I found this article. By the way, this is an article I found in achievement.org. This is the website, achievement.org. Okay, violin virtuoso Joshua Bell is presented, and the American Academy of Achievement's Golden Plate Award from Awards Council member Dr. Benjamin Carson during the 2008 International Achievement Summit, and this was in Hawaii. Yeah, in Hawaii, absolutely. Okay, well, look at all the achievements, and I'm pretty sure this is nowhere near. So, in addition to his medical practice, Dr. Carson has been in constant demand as a public speaker, no doubt, and devotes much of his time in meeting with groups of young people. Now, in 2008, President George W. Bush awarded Dr. Carson the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This is the nation's highest civilian honor. So let's go on ahead and look at this one as well. Okay, so we had number 8 right here. There you go. So this is 2008. President George W. Bush presents the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Dr. Ben Carson for his work with neurological disorders during a ceremony at the White House. The medal is the nation's highest civilian award. Isn't that something? So that's picture number 8. We have a couple more pictures left, but let's go ahead and talk about a few more things. So Dr. Carson's book included a memoir, Gifted Hands. And by the way, you can find his books right there on the Amazon. And you can find them anywhere else. You can go in ahead and use your favorite search engine to find these books. And also a motivational book, Think Big. You know I want that book. Carson says the letters of Think Big stand for the following: talent. Okay, so our Creator has endowed all of us not just with the ability to sing, dance, or throw a ball, but with intellectual talent. Start getting in touch with that part of you that is intellectual and develop that. And think of careers that will allow you to use that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show this to you as well. Okay, this is number 9 right here. This is the book called Gifted Hands right here. Okay, and again, his book, Think Big, T for talent, H for honesty, I for insight, N for nice, K for knowledge, B for books, I for in-depth learning, and then G for God. Never too big for him, right? Okay, so let's talk about this. Let's dig just a little bit more about what this book stands for. Okay, well, we talked about T for talent. And again, this is the book Think Big. T for talent. Our Creator has endowed us, all of us, not just the ability to sing, dance, or throw a ball, but with intellectual talent. So start getting in touch with that part of you that is intellectual and develop it, and think of careers that will allow you to use that. Now, H stands for honesty. If you lead a clean and honest life, you don't put skeletons in the closet. If you put skeletons in the closet, they're going to come out eventually. And they come back, they're going to haunt you, and they're going to ruin your life. This is a book that every parent needs to give their children. Okay? I stands for insight. It comes from the people who have already gone from where you're trying to go. Learn about their triumphs and their mistakes. Insight, you see that word a lot in the book of Proverbs in the Holy Bible. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason every single morning, Phil and I, we listen to a verse, we get a verse from the book of Proverbs. I got to have all the help I can get. I wasn't born any particular way except dumb. So what you always want to do is improve on your life status. N stands for nice. If you're nice to people, then once they get over the suspicion, it's going to be a suspicion. They're going to wonder, why are you being nice to me? Because there's so many bad people who are users. So once they get over that, why are you being nice to me? They're going to be nice to you. Sometimes it takes a while. It depends on what people have had to go through with in life. A lot of times it's from family members. And, they're family members mean to you. They abuse you, they use you, things like that. Maybe they have people who they thought were their friends. Maybe people in church they thought, were out for their best, the best life they could have for them. They find out they're not the person they thought they were. So, you get a little suspicious about people. So just keep being nice, okay? It always comes back around. Takes a while, but it always comes back around. K for knowledge. It makes you into a more valuable person. The more knowledge you have, the more people need you. It's an interesting phenomenon, says Dr. Carson, but when people need you, they pay you, so you'll be okay in life. B is from books. Books, they are the mechanism for obtaining knowledge as opposed to television. Read a book. Find something you like. I just never was one of those into drama books. I never wanted to read things like, drama, that. I like real life stories. I like people who started from absolutely nothing and they made their way. These are the people I love to read about. I stands for in-depth learning. Learn for the sake of knowledge and understanding rather than the sake of impressing people or for taking a test. Don't think about it that way. I'm going to read this to you again. This is one of his, Dr. Ben Carson. This is what he says. So in that learning, learn for the sake of knowledge and understanding rather than for the sake of impressing people or taking tests. G stands for God. Never get too big for him. Never do, ever. Okay, so I have another photo for you right here, and let's go ahead and pull this one up. Okay, let's see. I think it's 9 right here. No, that's the gift knowledge right here. Here we go. This is the one I wanted to show you. This is Natasha. I hope I don't butcher up the name. I'm going to say Threadaway. The poet of the United States receives the Golden Plate Award from Council member Dr. Benjamin Carson at the 2012 banquet of the Golden Plate during the 50th International Achievement Summit. Boy, doesn't he love to give away awards? It doesn't sound like to me that it's all about him. I mean, I'm not seeing that at all. He loves promoting other people. He loves being a cheerleader of other people. He wants to find these people who are successful, people who try beyond everything, and they made it happen. So here we go. Dr. Carson opposed the passage of the Federal Affordable Care Act of 2010. I'm called the ACA or Obamacare. After retiring from his position as Director of Pediatric Neurosurgery at Hopkins in 2012, Carson began to speak more frequently on other public issues and emerged as a vocal critic of the Obama administration. Now, in the news media and political circles, he attracted considerable attention as a possible candidate for public office and retired entirely from the medical practice in 2013. Okay, so I'm going to find another photo for you down here. Okay, so we had the picture number 10. Let me find that real quick. Right there, we saw the achievement. Let's get right here for picture number 11. Okay, and I've got to make this thing smaller, so bear with me as I do this. I apologize. I should have made sure this was actually ready before we get started, but it's really important. I want you to see this. Okay, there he is. He's at the Summit 2014 in San Francisco. So what is this about? It's Dr. Ben Carson. He's addressing the Academy delegates at the 2014 International Achievement Summit in San Francisco. Man, this guy was on call, wasn't he? Okay, just a little bit over a minute left in this, so I want to go ahead and talk to you about a few other things he did. In May of 2015, Dr. Carson ended several months of speculation by announcing his intention to seek the Republican Party's nomination for President of the United States. He led the polls for a brief period preceding the Iowa caucus, but after a disappointing show in that contest in early primaries, he suspended his campaign and he endorsed former rival Donald Trump for the Republican nomination right here. And so here he is. I have a picture. I don't have it right there for you, but Dr. Benjamin Carson speaks to thousands of supporters during the campaign rally at the Anaheim Convention Center in September the 9th, 2015 in Anaheim, California. Now, following Trump's election in 2016, the president-elect nominated Dr. Carson to join his cabinet as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Although Carson had no previous experience serving in government, the Senate confirmed his appointment in March 2017, and Dr. Carson assumed leadership of the federal department charged with combating urban decay and assisting America's renters and homeowners. Now, in 2021, Dr. Carson founded the American Cornerstone Institute, the ACI. It's a conservative think tank centered around advancing policies that promote faith, liberty, community, and life. Okay, so you're looking for a hero right now. You could be a sports person. It could be somebody who's a singer. It could be any of those things right there. But think about this guy. Go to Amazon, wherever you want to, your search engines, and make sure you find a number of his books. You need to get those, and you really need to read those. It's going to better your life. Your children, you need to gather them around. Let them listen to someone who is a hero because of their faith and their beliefs. That's your hero right there. Thank you, Dr. Carson. And I hope to get an interview from you pretty soon. Thank you again so much for watching.